and welcome to the Makerspace. I'm Jackie, the Makerspace manager, and we're here with Maria, one of my student technicians. We are going to find out more about Maria, when she started working for the Makerspace, what her interests and studies are, and I'm excited. So, hi Maria, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so just make sure you speak up nice and loud because your speaker is not picking up too much. So can you tell me a little bit about your major, minor, any clubs that you're in, things like that academically at Swarthmore?
All right. So as of now, I'm only sure that I want to major in computer science. I've been taking a bunch of random courses in different disciplines to see if there are any other areas of study that interest me. And so now I'm also leaning towards maybe doing something with Spanish or philosophy kind of thing. So that's been fun just to branch out and see different disciplines in Swarthmore. And this year I haven't been able to join many different clubs just because I wanted to focus on my transition to college and figuring things out and just kind of settling down.
Mm-hmm.
But next year, I really want to be more involved in our Enlace club and just be able to contribute to their projects and bring more of like a diversity into Swarthmore. And then I'm also interested in joining the Dare to Soar, just because I think teaching is such a valuable skill that you can have, and I think it'll be such a great way to improve my skills while also giving back to the community and helping out Chester's students in any way that I can.
Wow, that all sounds wonderful. Yeah, I find that teaching really helps me sort of clarify and communicate ideas and also learn from the feedback you get from others. So so I share that perception with you. And when did you start working for the Makerspace, and what made you want to join the Makerspace team?
I started working fall of 2019. And I think the main reason why I chose to work in the Makerspace was because in my high school, we were lucky enough to have our own Makerspace. And since I was really involved with engineering at that point, I was constantly surrounded by all the machines and people making different projects. And I was just very fascinated. But since I was more interested in robotics at that point, I never had like time to spare to be able to really learn about the machines or play around or do my own projects. And so when I came to Swarthmore during the summer and I was lucky enough to actually experience and learn more about the Makerspace at Swarthmore and be able to make little projects and just learn how all the machines functioned, it was just a new world had been opened up to me in a way. And when one of my friends reached out to me and told me that there's positions available at the Makerspace, I thought it'd be a great opportunity just to further my knowledge in there and be able to help other people kind of realize their ideas and help them out in any way that I can.
That's great. So you kind of have like a mechanical curiosity or sort of a drive to learn how things work, it sounds like.
Yeah, I really like making things. I think it's really cool to just have an idea just floating out there and be able to make it into a tangible object. It's just really nice skill that you can have.
Yeah, that's what we're all about. And what have you used the Makerspace for, either personally or academically?
So as of now, I've only used the Makerspace to make small projects just because I was still kind of learning how all the machines work. So I've used the laser cutter to make like room decor. So I have the screen kind of hanging out in my room by Edvard Munch. And then I have a bunch of other tiny little 3D prints that I have. And I started working on making a lap desk for my laptop in the wood shop. And so that's been fun. but I haven't really been able to make any big scale projects. But the knowledge that I learned from being a makerspace technician, I was able to kind of bring it into my own life here since I have a lot more free time. And so I've been helping out my dad make a doghouse for our dogs in the backyard. And I've just
Nice.
been around the house kind of making small little projects. So that's been fun.
That sounds really fun. And does your dad have some woodworking equipment that he's kind of, you guys are working together on?
Oh yeah, definitely. He's a very handy kind of man. He knows a lot about just making things in general yeah.
That's great. And let me see what my next question is. Can you talk about something? I know you said that you gained some proficiency with the machines in the makerspace. Can you talk about specifically one or two things that you've learned either in practice or theory from being in the makerspace?
Yeah, I think I've just learned so much in the makerspace since I came in with relatively very minimal knowledge. And so I know kind of the ins and outs of how 3D printers work now, and since every now and then they kind of, how do you say this? Like they act up every now and then. So I've kind of learned ways to like figure out the problem and just tweak it every here and now so it's able to like run efficiently and get the job done. And since I've never actually worked with any wood shop machinery, so I've been able to actually become pretty efficient in running most of the machines. And yeah, so honestly, I've just learned everything at the Makerspace as of now.
Yeah, I know that last semester your shifts were scheduled in the digital lab, right? And
Yeah.
then we moved you a little bit into the wood shop a little more, and you've been really hands-on quite a bit more with that. So yeah, so that's been fun for you.
Oh, definitely. I think I prefer the wood shop in a way just because it's a lot more hands-on.
Yeah. That's good. That's what I like to hear. Can you talk about a time where you helped someone else with a problem in the makerspace or a project, and that was a good memory or experience for you?
Yeah. A time that comes to mind is kind of like two separate events. So one time a student, she came into the digital fabrications lab, and I was trying to help her print out a portrait onto cardstock, but no matter like how hard I tried, like the resolution was just off and it did not really want to work. And so then I called the other technician that was working at the wood shop, and since he had more experience with working in both labs, and he was able to just like come in and use his own little functions because he had a lot more experience with Adobe, and so he knew a lot of different functions that I still haven't learned. And like in 5 minutes, he was able to fix a problem like that. And so I tried to like make a mental note of what he did, so if a time came in the future where a student had like a similar problem, like I'd be able to help them out. And lucky for me, a couple weeks later, someone came in with a very similar project that she wanted to create like a stencil onto a similar cardstock for one of her classes. And so I just remembered how Oliver like helped us out in the past, and I was able to kind of use that background knowledge to help her, and it just felt really nice to actually learn from things that I didn't know, and I was able to actually see that, oh, I am learning and I am progressing and I am kind of taking in the information that you guys are all providing me with.
That's a really great story because it really highlights how a makerspace, just being kind of in the same space with other people and seeing how other people work through problems, helps us build our own skills. and then you went and passed that on to someone else because you helped, you know, a new person with their issue. And so there's a lot of skill transferring going on, and kind of building off of that. And once you learn something, then you have that to take with you indefinitely. So that's a wonderful story. Thank you. And what have you been doing to kind of keep, I know you talked a little bit about some projects that you and your dad are working on. Is there anything else you've been doing to kind of stay busy during our COVID-19 quarantine?
Yeah, I've just been trying to stay more active just because I am kind of locked in my house like many other Americans are. So I've been taking up yoga and just like working out. And since since I've been wanting to kind of improve on my sewing, when you reached out to me that Tara was like finding help to make masks for our Swarthmore community, I kind of jumped at the chance since I already had so much free time, and it'd be a way for me to improve like all my sewing skills while making a contribution to other people. And so that's what I've been mainly focusing my time on right now. So yeah, I have a bunch of different cutouts in my room, and so now I just have to like sew them all, and that should be fun.
That's wonderful. That's a great contribution to make right now, and sounds like you've been doing a little better than me at the fitness component. It's really hard for us to stay motivated, so good job on that one. And then another question I had are what are some maker-related skills or topics that you want to either learn or build on that you haven't had the chance to learn enough about yet?
Yeah. I think since a lot of the students that come in are like in sculpting courses and they're able to make like, these big masterpieces of wood, I think I want to start learning more about like sculpting and learn new tricks and stuff. So if they do come, like I can help them as well, and then I can start my own projects. Just because I think it's so cool that they're able to create such like amazing woodwork with something so minimal to start with.
Yeah, that's definitely a, you know, a really great sort of process to learn, and involves a lot of, you know, adding material and taking away material to shape something into, you know, what you're imagining. So so I hope that you get the chance to pursue that.
Thank you.
And then my final question is, what is your favorite thing that you've ever made? And it could be makerspace related or non-makerspace related.
That's a hard one. I think it would be the robot that I made in high school, just because I remember it bringing it so much pain because it was so hard to actually make work and have it function with the code and have all the metal like stay together and be able to function properly for the game we were. So after we finally got it to a point where it worked and we were able to compete with it, it was just such a rewarding experience to have all that work be put to like good use. So that has been like one of the best things that I've made.
I think that's one of the reasons that I pick challenging projects for myself, is because, you know, through the struggle, the finished product and the reward just feel that much more rewarding, because you just, you know, you push through a whole bunch of adversity to get there.
Yeah.
So couldn't agree more. So that concludes my questions for today. Is there anything else that you wanted to share about yourself or the makerspace with the Swarthmore community?
I just hope that more people kind of take advantage of the makerspace, because I feel like it's very underutilized at times, but it can make such amazing things and kind of help people make their ideas into something that more people can like be accessible to. And so yeah, I just hope that our community is able to kind of take advantage of the resources that they have at Swarthmore.
Thank you. That's a wonderful way to wrap up our interview. And stay tuned for more interviews with our Makerspace technicians. Thank you for joining us, Maria, and we'll be signing off. Until next time.